He comes to us on Fridays. He writes for the Marina Times. He writes about music. He writes about movies, television. He comes and goes on a rainbow. The great Michael Snyder, everybody. Come on. How about it, Michael Snyder?
Hey, huzzah! Hello and greetings to all, one and all. And it's Friday. Feeling good on a Friday. How you been today?
Well, you off the air, we were talking about the Giants, and it's pretty brutal, man.
Hey, I have one important thing to say about the Giants that we have to all remember.
What's that?
Go Niners! Speaking of losers, it looks like screaming right-wing radio liar Alex Jones is going to have to pay $4 million in damages to the Sandy Hook parents. How about the damage he's done to all of our ears? I mean, seriously, I think it's time for a class action lawsuit. I mean, across the board. What do you say?
Well, you have to stand in line anyway, yeah.
I would think so. Let's talk movies. What do you say?
Love it. Get on it.
All right. The blockbustery Bullet Train is audacious and violent and candy-colored and kinetic and loaded with top-grade actors.
I'll ding kinetic. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's also designed to be appreciated in movie theaters, but for all its accelerated frenzy and pop and bursts of tongue-in-cheek humor, its story is kind of flaccid and convoluted, and
I'll ding flaccid.
I didn't care. Brad Pitt plays a rumpled professional assassin who's been saddled with the name Ladybug by his handler. She's given him a little trouble there. But Ladybug's fortunes have been unfortunate for a while. It kind of puts me in the mood of the Albert King lyric. If it wasn't for bad luck, he wouldn't have no luck at all. Remember that? Born under a bad sign?
Very nice reference.
Anyway, trying to get back on track, so to speak. It's called Bullet Train.
Okay.
He takes on a job that places him on a Japanese bullet train with a group of other deadly killers who seem to all be working at cross purposes as a master manipulator pulls the string. So
it's the Deadly Killer Express train. That's why they're all on it?
Like that. It's Assassins on the Orient Express. Anyway, the train is hurtling toward a destination where danger lurks. Anyway, there's danger on the train. The adversaries chase one another and a MacGuffin or two. They're trying to eliminate one another up and down the moving train while hiding these shoot-em-ups and punch-em-ups from innocent passengers. Good luck for that. Anyway, there are some terrific fights and action sequences and a few laughs. And the cast members, including Joey King, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Zazie Beetz, Hiroyuki Sanada, Masaoka, remember him from Heroes? He's on here. And Michael Shannon. They all seem to be having a blast, especially Pitt. And for me, this was contagious. You throw in a couple of pleasing cameo appearances that I won't divulge here, and you have a kind of a noisy, nutty 2 hours of brain-dead escapism from director David Leitch, who, by the way, also directed Deadpool 2. So this guy knows explosive lunacy. There are better crime comedies than Bullet Train, really. You could say it's an unnecessary ride that goes off the rails, but it is one I enjoyed along the way. It's only in theaters for now. Bullet Train, conditional,
Yeah, sounded like you really didn't like it that much. Then you sounded like you kind of did like it a little bit, and at the end you end up kind of sort of meh on it.
You're balancing like action fun with, is this script any good?
I see.
And there are a few witticisms and stuff, but it gets so convoluted. Anyway, want to hear some unbridled praise instead of that conditional stuff? Yeah. The new sci-fi action movie Prey is thrilling, it's smart, it's enveloping, and it's the best Predator movie since the first one came out in 1987. And let me tell you, it's a lot easier to root for this plucky, relatively unknown Native American actress, Amber Mid-Thunder, as the young Comanche warrior Nara in her battle against this vicious hunter from the stars in the early 1700s than it ever was to cheer on that lump Arnold Schwarzenegger in the original modern-day Predator movie. The alien race known as Predators gather up their high-tech weapons and their armor, and they have apparently used the Earth and other planets as, to borrow a phrase, happy hunting grounds for centuries. And that's not a happy circumstance for the members of the Comanche Nation that the creature targets in Prey. And meanwhile, Naru is trying to establish herself as a legit warrior in her tribe and is dissed by all the boys for her efforts. So while on a spontaneous tracking expedition, she encounters, dun, 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 the predator. The question is, will the prey become predator? Blah, blah, blah. I have reservations, sorry about that, about telling you anything other than giving you an opinion. Prey is a very, very good movie. It's respectful of Native American culture. There's really solid character work, and it still rocks the sci-fi adventure. In the credit where credit's due department, Dan Trachtenberg, who also has directed 10 Cloverfield Lane and some episodes of The Boys and Black Mirror, did a fine job here of directing Patrick Azin's taut script. This baby looks good. I should say I also saw it at a theatrical screening, even though it's going direct to streaming on Hulu today.
Wow!
So it was.
So you can't even see it in the theater?
I don't think so. Wow. It was a treat on the big screen, but I wager it's going to please the fans who
maybe we'll just sit really close to the screen at home.
Exactly. When you hunt it down at home, you will be happy. Anyway,
Prey is what it's called.
Streaming on Hulu.
Okay.
All right. Watching this immensely clever, sneaky, funny whodunit, bodies. It struck me that every murder mystery should feature nothing but obnoxious, well-to-do 20-somethings as potential killers and victims, especially if one of them is played by SNL's longtime bad boy, Pete Davidson. I mean, he gets on the screen, right? And my first reaction was, whoever the killer is, go for it. Anyway, remember Lord of the Flies, when all the school kids are shipwrecked on a deserted island and descend into savagery? You remember that, right?
Of course, yeah.
Now, imagine a group of Gen Zers trapped in a remote mansion during a hurricane with no cell phone service and, worse, no Wi-Fi. Madness. It's madness, I tell you.
Wow.
They could go from metaphorical backstabbing, which they're very good at, to, real backstabbing, especially if they play the party game of the title. Bodies, directed by a relative newcomer, Helena Rain, and written by a quintet of snarkmeisters, is a horror comedy for the age of influencers. Most everyone in this group of supposed friends is more concerned with their own fabulousness and, of course, their survival than the well-being of their comrades. And the cast, besides Davidson and the veteran Lee Pace, features some impressive up-and-comers, including Amanda Stenberg as the back-from-recovery outcast Sophie, Maria Bakalova, who made such a splash as Borat's daughter in the recent Sacha Baron Cohen comedy. She plays Sophie's mysterious girlfriend, Rachel Sennett, from the crafty indie film Shiva Baby, super self-absorbed rich girl named Alice. And besides being a cool mystery with a solid payoff, Bodies is scary, fun. It is also in select theaters right now.
Wow, so would you compare it to Scream? Like, is that funny? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty droll. And it's, again, the satire of contemporary youth in action is just clear and present.
All right. Droll, I would ding. Chris, please.
All
right, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's wrap it up with I Love My Dad, which is what the Brits call a comedy of discomfort, something that may be funny, but is also going to make you squirm. Only this movie takes it up a notch. And get this, it's inspired by screenwriter-director-star James Morosini's actual experience with his estranged father, who, get ready, attempted to reach out to Morosini by catfishing on social media as a young woman. How much of this movie is autobiographical, I don't know.
This is a comedy?
Yes, it is a comedy.
Okay, that's good.
Again, the phrase comedy of discomfort, which I pointed out earlier in this mini review, should suggest, yes, comedy's involved here. I know that comedian actor Patton Oswalt, who was a favorite in San Francisco and got his stand-up career rolling here, he gives what I consider to be his best performance to date as Chuck, the father to the troubled Franklin, played by Morosini, divorced from his wife for years after being a less than attentive husband. Chuck, he's been a crappy, often absent father to the emotionally troubled but kind Franklin, too, and he's been less than honest with the kid. So Chuck, of course, does the dumbest thing imaginable to reconnect with Franklin. He fabricates a fake identity online, that of an attractive young woman. The words cringe and excruciating come to mind at times, but the earnestness of the project, Morosini's willingness to lay bare a terribly embarrassing, albeit fictionalized situation from his personal life, and Oswald's performance make this very much worth watching, especially when it comes to streaming. By the way, Lil Rel Howery, your buddy.
I love Lil Rel.
He plays Chuck's best friend.
Okay.
Rachel Dratch plays Chuck's boss, and Amy Landecker plays Chuck's ex-wife.
So you have a lot of comedic performances.
Lots of skill here. The supporting talent is there. It's in theaters today and streaming on demand next Friday.
Bullet Train is action fun. Script not great, but the action fun is great enough maybe to balance it. It's in theaters and it's okay. Prey is his big one. If you like action, it's solid, it's excellent. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg. You can find it on a Hulu. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is the comedy with Pete Davidson and Maria Bakalova. You know her from the latest Borat movie. And it's kind of good. I Love My Dad, Patton Oswalt, his best performance, according to you, Michael Snyder.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think. Although I loved him as Rene the Rat in Ratatouille. I did.
All right. And I Love My Dad is streamable and in theaters, or
Next week, streamable in theaters this weekend.
All right. A great summary of some stuff to do this weekend. Next time we'll talk about Niners, Giants, or something.
Maybe we will. I'm going to spend my weekend binging The Sandman on Netflix, I think.
That is it for Snyder. You can find him in the Marina Times. Until next time, bye-bye, Michael.
So long, everybody.